In the weeks since the election in the United States, the US dollar has performed very well compared to the Chinese yuan and the euro. Could you explain a little bit about why this is happening?
And remember, Donald Trump, too, I think sees as one of his key success advantages being unpredictable. So a lot can change. But I think a lot of the US dollar strength is obviously coming from his election victory, the fact that he wants to bring jobs back on shore and empower the American economy. So that's obviously going to be positive. And keep in mind, too, before the election, it was actually the United States economy was actually one of the better ones in the world. It wasn't in recession. It wasn't overheating. I think for the Chinese yuan, the renminbi, I think it's pretty clear that the impact is one, of course, what the potential impact with Trump's possible tariffs on the Chinese economy would be. And also, two, the fact that the Chinese economy is still performing fairly weakly in terms of GDP growth and also consumption. For the euro, that's a little bit more standard in terms of the economy there is not performing as well as the U.S. economy. Also, too, they are also watching what's going on in terms of the U.S. Fed and its possible rate cuts, maybe not as many rate cuts as possible or what they maybe thought.
What effect might these currency valuations have on Taiwan and its exports and imports?
An NT dollar that's weaker versus the US dollar means that probably Taiwan's exports will actually become more competitive. Now, that sounds great, but of course, there's some headaches involved there too, because it might mean that the trade surplus that Taiwan enjoys with the US may be larger. And also, too, the fact that you have to consider that these companies that are going to probably expand their investments and also their, let's say, even build plants in the United States, it will become more expensive for them to do that because remember, the NT dollar is weaker against a stronger US dollar. However, the United States and Taiwan have a very strong trade relationship. Even if the United States has a trade deficit with Taiwan, a lot of the exports that Taiwan's sending is, remember, these are high-tech exports going to the United States. They're improving America's ability to export as well too and build its own industrial base.
One of the other currencies we have seen surge since the US election is actually the digital currency, Bitcoin, a currency which Donald Trump promised to regulate during his campaign. What might he be seeking to accomplish with these regulations?
And I think that he's looking at, and I think the voters were looking at him coming in and saying, this is a new way to kind of empower the average person, the average investor. I think he's looking at a couple things. One is he's looking at, let's say, for example, China, which was doing a lot of work in trying to build their own national kind of stable currency, other markets as well, too. And I think he wants to have the regulatory agencies to kind of support it. Up until now, we've seen a lot of the central banks and regulatory agencies, even the United States, be rather cautious on developing that. So I expect he's going to continue to try to find ways to make cryptocurrency more relevant as an investment, as a currency for U.S. investors and for the global investors, and also to have the United States play a role in that so investment flows into the United States for this industry rather than have U.S. investors go outside the United States to invest in it.